Welcome to my new calculus site. My name is John Gabriel, and today I'd like to talk about the topic of nefsis, which I'll explain what that means in a moment. It's a Greek word, and tangent lines, and of course the most important theorem once again in calculus, the mean value theorem, from which the fundamental theorem is derived in one line. So there are many misconceptions about nefsis. And to be quite honest with you, I don't believe any academic actually understood these things properly. Not Sir Thomas Heath and not any of the others in the last, 200, 400 years. So let's begin. Now, the Greek word nefsis is a method of not construction, but a method of defining. Like Wikipedia will tell you it's a method of construction or proof, but that's not strictly speaking correct. It's a method of defining certain objects as well. And one of the objects that nefsis defines is the tangent line. And I'm sharing this with the entire world for the first time. The tangent line is realized from nefsis. And how so? Well, imagine that a ruler is placed, or a straight edge is placed on this line here, right? And that as the straight edge is tilted towards the curve, it never touches the curve in more than one point, right? And that's the case if the curve is smooth. If the curve is not smooth, then of course it's not going to be true that the tangent line only meets in one point. And of course, the original definition of tangent line by the ancient Greeks is that it is a line which meets a curve in one point and crosses it nowhere. Okay, so we're not talking about extending the tangent line and it meeting the curve at some other place, here or this side or that side, but rather that it doesn't meet at the point of tangency. Okay, and that's why there is no tangent line at the point of inflection. All right, so in Greek, let's just look at a few things quickly about the language so that you can have perhaps an understanding, a better understanding of how these things work. So let's go to screen sketch here. Now, if in Greek you see an epsilon followed by epsilon, okay, epsilon followed by epsilon. By the way, nefsis is written like that. Nefsis. Okay. Nefsis. Okay. If you see an epsilon followed by epsilon, the sound it makes is F, but it doesn't always make that sound. It can also make the sound EV. So for example, if you say I am inclined or I incline towards, you'll say nevo, not nefo. Okay. So this here is called a diphthong, and that's basically the pronunciation of the word nefsis. It's also the same, like for example, if you write this word here, most of you will hear it pronounced as Zeus. It's not Zeus, it's pronounced as Zephs, okay, Zephs, like that with an F. Right, so that's something interesting for you. Okay, and that's all I wanted to explain there. I'm not going to waste any more time on that. Come back to the important stuff. So the tangent line is the first object of nefsis, and it's the first time I share this with you. Now remember, some time ago on my YouTube channel, I spoke to you about Epius and the trisectrix, and I promised that I would reveal the details. Well, it's many years later now, and I haven't revealed the details, but I have given you an update. And I revealed to you the secret, the first secret. The first ever nefsis was done by what I call an imaginary tangemeter, okay? In other words, a straight edge that hugs a given curve with the result that only one point of the curve and straight edge are ever in contact. So it has been misunderstood by all the academics I've ever spoken to. Archimedes used it effectively, and Euclid abandoned it, choosing to accept the definition of tangent line as given by his predecessors. In other words, what I told you, a finite line meeting the curve in only one point and crossing it nowhere. The only modern theorem, and the most important one in calculus, the mean value theorem, can be stated as follows. The tangent line at one or more points in an interval equals the tangent line at one or more points in this interval. Okay, let's do this here. In other words, in this interval A to B equals to the arithmetic mean of all the y ordinates. So if you, for example, were able to calculate, and actually you are, let's put the trace on here. So if you're able to put the trace on the wrong one. Oh, well, that's not too bad. I should have put the trace on there. Okay, so if you were able to calculate the arithmetic mean of all of these, right, then you would end up having this length here, which is the mean of all the y ordinates of the derivative function. This red line, broken dotted red line, is the derivative function of this quadratic function that you see in front of you. Okay, and that's really now a way you can see this is if you drag this point just above this blue point here, say about there, then at this point here, the slope of the tangent line is equal to the length of this line. It's always true for any function. Okay. And of course, there'll be a link to this output so you can play with it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I wanted to show you how important it is that we always use well-formed concepts. Okay, and also going back to this video here now, you have a little more ammunition, okay, to work with this trisectrix and figure out how it was actually done exactly. I'll tell you one other thing I haven't revealed. And it's the fact that you can actually derive a series for sine in a way different to what Newton did with his method that was described in the Analyst. Well, not the Analyst, De Analysi. So nefsis is also something that one might say Newton used when he messed around with his secant lines, trying to find the slope of the tangent line, because remember, all he did was he kept on moving this point towards this point here, getting shorter and shorter lines, secant lines, so that he could approximate the tangent line slope. And that, in a sense, is nefsis. But in Newton's case, he and Leibniz and everyone else after him, except for me, failed miserably to formulate a rigorous formulation. So that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss today, and show you that there is a lot. In fact, I can't even begin to describe how much modern academics have no clue about. And in fact, the academics of the last 2,000 years don't have any clue. So I think if the ancient Greeks were alive today and they were listening to what I'm saying, they would be dumbfounded. And they were, in my opinion, the smartest people that ever lived. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please become a subscriber. Download my free ebook. Study my articles. There are links available on my website. By the way, as you know, I've been kicked off LinkedIn. And I'm probably going to be kicked off Quora again, because as soon as I started posting content on Quora, which they didn't like, they decided that it was violating their policies. So it's just a matter of time before they close off that account too. Not that I care really, because Quora is really a trash heap. So in any case, click like on these videos, spread the news, become a subscriber, and I hope to be producing some more interesting videos in the near future. My name is John Gabriel, and this is a new calculus channel. Till next time, goodbye, folks.